everybody. Welcome to season 2 of the LIPP Men on Sports. Sorry we get off to a little late start there. I was having some audio issues and I figured them out. So at any rate, this show's not about me. It is about the LIPP Men, and there is the elder LIPP man. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. What I'm doing.
I've got my ridiculous Birmingham Stallions shirt on to acknowledge the champions. By the way, in the preseason, I picked them to win. However, when it came time to actually do predictions for the championship game, the San Antonio Brahmas bedazzled me, and I got that one wrong.
Yeah, you did. I remember that. So, well, maybe you can call it tonight. Let's not be greedy here. We've got a guest that you brought in here. Let's bring him in.
Wait, don't bury my joke. My joke is going to be, Jake, this year's been rough on you.
Well, should we wait and find out who you're going to predict for this season? Or
we're going to wait on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
because we're still in preseason. They showed up for training camp. That's a plus.
It sure is. That's one of the things that we're going to talk about.
Maybe under duress, but they did show up.
Sort of under duress. I mean, it's a job, which I'm sure we'll talk about that. So the other LIPP man is not here yet. He's going to get here in a little bit. And got some things on his mind. He's going to be hungry and angry, and so he's going to be hangry, and he's got a little bit of a rant. And we have one of possibly two guests that's on, but one is enough for the time being. And he guested with us last year, and we guested with him last year. It's Charles Richardson from the Charles Richardson Show. How are you, Charles?
You know what? I can't say that I'm hangry because I did eat and I'm stuffed. So I made sure I had a good protein. But yeah, I do want to talk about this this union BS. I really do. I want to get it. I want to get some dirty laundry out there.
Okay. Now, you know Jay better than I. So do we know if Jay is coming or not?
Jay does what Jay does, unfortunately.
Okay. Well,
so I have to be honest with you, I do not know. He was pretty reliable last year, but I know he's been focusing a lot on his music, and he also has a lot of stuff. So he has not been as attentive as last year, but I think he has a lot more on his plate. So if he doesn't get to us today, I'm sure it's because of unforeseen circumstances.
No, I get it. So first of all, I want to thank everyone who's watching. Thank you who tuned in last year. Somehow the few UFL podcasts who are still under my garden of, what's now Thought feed, somehow some of those shows are still in the top 30 every month, which is bizarre to me since, I mean, not only were we fumbling and bumbling through things, but it's a year ago for a season that's in the past. So why are you listening to that show? But thank those people as well. But I did want to do a catch up with everyone to see how the year's been. So in case Jay doesn't come, Jay actually was signed to a music deal. He has a deal with Spotify. He is an artist known as Equinox on Spotify. So, like, who knew? Who knew that we had like Eminem or someone here? I don't want to like name any names because the only names I know are very famous, and everyone's very famous is finding themselves stepping in bear traps and tiger traps and worse. So. Congratulations to Jay if you don't make it and get here. But yeah, so that's awesome. Charles, what have you been doing? What's been up with you the last 42 weeks?
Well, so I've just recently gotten my show back up and running on a regular basis. I do a open format talk show, the Charles Richardson Show, Monday and Wednesday. So we've had a bunch of guests on to start. It's kind of thinning out a little bit. So we're still trying to keep the show pumping, keep it funny and stuff like that. And, we're always booking for new guests, but I am anxiously awaiting getting the Touchdown Crew back up and running here with getting Jay back, getting some other people from UFL America back on as well, and do some more watch parties. Those were a lot of fun to do.
Excellent. Hey, Glenn, how's your year been?
It's been good. We've seen a lot of growth and change. In fact, I forgot to mention we are going to be rebroadcasting this tonight at midnight on Pine Island, Florida, WZQY. So in addition to all of our YouTube places, it'll be on FM tonight. and AM. I understand they sent me a message and said they had an AM transmitter too. So I don't know how far our signal goes. So that's news. We are no longer affiliated with WDJY, which I'm kind of glad of. We picked up other shows have picked up some things. I'm like on the Bigfoot Network now, and we're on a couple other things, but yeah.
Can we talk bad about WDJY? Can we gossip and like blaspheme them?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead. So,
well, I have no idea. I don't know the first thing about them except the call letters that you just laid out.
Well, I mean, it's been no secret. My agent and I have been fighting. She had one job, 365 days to find me one sponsor. In 365 days, she hadn't found me any sponsors. I'd picked up other radio stations on my own, like Radio Free Nashville. And then she was demanding money. Kind of like you were talking about spring football. She was demanding money, and I was like, "F no, that ain't happening." So,
you keep calling her your agent. She's more like your real estate agent than your actual agent, and that is while she's under retainer, that if no matter where you find a buyer, she wants a commission. So anyway, but enough about that. I want your deal with your agents between you and your agent.
She's fired. I'm rid of her. She's fired.
Okay. Well, I want to talk a little bit about my year because it's been crazy. First, I've rebranded the Garden of Doom as the Garden of Thought because the name we really outgrew it probably by week 15, which also has made it unnecessary to have a difference between Garden of Doom and Garden Views because it's all encapsulated under Garden of Thought. So that's a lot of fun. So I don't have to, really kill myself with like trying to figure out which content to do and what to alternate. I still like the weekend show to be sort of like if you're watching the History Channel, like after sundown and maybe into the wee hours of the morning, and the midweek show to be, maybe more of a magazine show or, like you're watching 48 Hours for those who are old enough, 2020 kind of thing. But the wrestling show not the traditional kind of wrestling show, GOT presents the Book of Black or the Gospel of Thomas is kicking. We picked up some of you may know PJ Black, a professional wrestler for about 25, 26 years. He was Justin Gabriel in WWE for 5 years. He was in the Nexus and the Core. He was actually on Garden of Doom episode 50, and we've been friendly ever since. And I reached out to him and I said, listen, I have this idea and I want to do a show where I talk to wrestlers about Garden of Doom type of stuff. And do you think that's anything? He's like, I love that idea. And I just got my first injury for the first time in 26 years in this business. So I'm going to be healing up for the next year. So can I do it with you? I'm like, I was sort of hoping I was sort of hoping I wouldn't have to ask you. So we did that. And he booked a bunch of people. We've had Tyrus, EC3, Damian Sandow, who's Aaron Stevens, Jimmy Jacobs, a whole bunch of people on there. And one of the guests was Mr. Thomas from Major League Wrestling, and we got along really well. I'm like, listen, PJ isn't always available, and he's getting healthier, and he's getting busier. He's doing a bunch of things. PJ lives his best life. And I'm like, do you want to be, an alternate guest host? He's like, 100%, which baffled me. And so we've been booking his friends, and now I'm booking people that I don't even know, or they don't. Well, everyone sort of knows each other in wrestling. And in a bizarre, well, first of all, my big coup, the actor who played Dario Cueto and plays Cesar Duran from Lucha Underground and MLW, who's also a real actor, got him on the show. He doesn't do podcasts, so that was the latest episode that was dropped. And then one that's going to be dropping any day is with a wrestler named Shaz McKenzie. And I'm just going to say, listen to that show because it's going to lead to something. It might lead to something that's wild, but since it's not in stone yet, I don't want to say it. Anyway, I've taken up a lot of our hour babbling about me and I've actually made it to the Big Boy Table in Wrestling Soup. I'm on their SmackDown review show on Wrestling Soup, so it's not just my Body Slam briefs, or every now and then they'll put me on a Mash with Mitch. Anyway, so we probably should talk about the UFL, and just so that the audience, their expectations are set, the first segment was going to be catch up with the hosts, which we've done. We're probably going to talk about news and notes, and then in coming weeks, where there will certainly be more detailed news and notes, we will talk about news and notes. And next week, we will focus on the USFL division. And the following week, more news and notes. And we'll focus on the XFL division. And then it's game time. So without further ado, I think there's two things that are equal big news. One, we sort of didn't break ourselves, but it seems we were the only ones talking about it with confidence early on last year, is that as part of the Fox Friday night lineup, UFL games will now be on Fox broadcast primetime every Friday night, which is huge for the UFL. They're replacing the time slot that SmackDown was in, plus, and that's it's a lot of money saved for Fox. Hopefully, they'll get similar viewership as SmackDown, or at least any other UFL primetime games on networks, which tended to be about 1.3 to 1.5 million. So hopefully they'll do better than that. And hopefully their ad rates went up because of that, because they've got to make some money, which means the ad rates got to go up. And that takes us into the not so positive, which is there's been a lot of labor strife going on. So I'm going to turn it over to Charles on some of these labor issues.
Yeah, number one, and listen, I respect the fair wage and everything like that, but let's be realistic here, okay? These players are not in the NFL, probably not even on a practice squad, which is why they're here, to go ahead and earn their spot. There was a thing called the Spring League. How much were they getting paid? Zero. They were funding everything. Why you guys have the nuts to go ahead and say we want more money? You do realize what league you're playing for, right? You do realize where you stand at the feeding table, okay? You are the last person. You need to make yourself work. You want to make more money? This is kind of like the United States. Everybody's like, oh, we need to make a living wage, make the minimum wage a living wage. No. You want to make more money, you go ahead and you need to get promoted. And in this case, you get promoted to a practice squad, or you get promoted to the 53-man roster, or at the very least, you get invited to preseason to a regular NFL club. These people need to realize where you stand. And to my understanding, this labor strike, this labor fiasco that's been going on is by all the white collar people, the quarterbacks. You get paid more than anybody because we understand you go ahead and control the game. You control everything. You control a lot. Let's put it that way. But you're already making more than anybody else. What the, and we're on FM radio, so I can't say it, but what the FM, really?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, can anybody understand this? Can anybody agree with me on this? And the NFLPA, for all that matter, oh, we need to hold Fox live. Wait, will you shut up? You're already making it. You already have your issues with your own players. Don't get involved in the UFL. Don't get involved in a business that is here to go ahead and give the person who has been number 54 and below a chance to play, a chance to go ahead and revitalize their career, a chance to leap up and get noticed. That's the whole point. It isn't about money. If you're here to make a career in the UFL, you're in the wrong mindset. And that's all I got to say on that.
Charles, do you know what is the difference between what the average quarterback gets paid in the UFL versus the other players? I mean, my understanding last year is that the players were making 55, and there were some legit issues. They were supposed to get performance bonuses, and they weren't getting the bonuses, and they had to file a complaint on that, and they got it. So I'm not sure if like the league and the union conspired to make the union look like it was worthwhile, and the union did a rope-a-dope on the league and thought, hey, we just want more dues-paying members. Don't worry, we're not going to cause any trouble for you. And then, but I'm a wrestling fan, so I always see conspiracy. But anyway, the question I was asking was pretty standard. That I thought everyone got like $55,000, and that was about it. But it sounds like it's different.
It's $5,500 per week, and that's if you're on an active roster. And that is, if you're not even on an active roster, it's like $2,500 or something a week. And quarterbacks, like I said, quarterbacks get paid more. Now, there was a little bit of verbiage there that said, well, $5,500 is the base minimum.
And don't forget, they get $1,600 a month for housing and food.
That on top of that, yes. Yeah. That's on top of $5,500 or $2,500 or whatever the case may be.
I just looked it up, and the average just for the whole league last year was around 62, just under $62,000 That's
Is
not
that including the
the
1,600 a month allowance stipend? So the stipends on top of that.
So, yeah.
Now
So
I do understand that they all have to live. They pretty much have to live in Arlington for the at least for the entirety of the preseason, if not the whole season. That's sort of like that's where all the practice fields are, and that's home base. So I mean, if you're going to make someone move, I guess it makes sense. But I hear what Charles is. I want to say a couple things. One, I am very sympathetic to the fact that there are CEOs in major corporations that are making like 20,000 times what the average worker is. And there's a lot of disparity issues. And so it's very easy to say, oh, the corporations make so much more and the corporations are doing record profits. That's true. But not every division of every corporation is making profits. And the UFL is a division. It's an investment by Fox and an investment by a private fund called Redbird Investments. And I think I think like The Rock and his ex-wife are minor investors. But investors demand return. Probably the only ones who don't, that are playing a long game might be Fox, maybe The Rock because he's got so much more. I don't know, but
Danny Garcia, who's The Rock's ex, she's the chairwoman. You got Russ Brandon, I believe it is. He used to be former CEO or GM for the Buffalo Bills. He's actually the president. So it's Redbird Capital and Fox under a LLC, the Spring Football, those two own 50-50 equal partnership in this.
And they have not made a profit yet. To my knowledge, they're very much on like a 5-year plan to make it. Whether they're on target or not, I have no idea. But I know they sold out all their ads last year, but it was about 3,600 or 4,600 for a 30-second ad, which I remember because we compared it to SmackDown from the year before, which was like $36,000 for a 30-second spot on the air. And really, because I follow wrestling, is the only reason I know that the UFL was part of the Fox Friday night lineup confirmed, because that's one of the reasons they said we don't need SmackDown anymore, because we're doing other sports, including this. While everyone else was thinking it was an if, I'm like, no, this is a when. It's not an if. But yeah, am I correct that this league is still in the red?
To my understanding, I think it is. I think it still is. I don't remember them saying, yeah, we made good money. But I did hear the rumblings in ticket sales. I had the rumblings in ticket sales for this year that it's not going good. And I also heard rumblings that early last or late last year, this is do or die. If they don't make a substantial impact this year, there will be no UFL next year. Set aside expansion plans. Expansion? You're talking about expansion?
Yeah, people are getting ahead of their skis on those things. So yeah, and you're right. The labor, I mean, the leading voices talking about labor issues have been quarterbacks. I think Luis Perez has been most notably, and it's sort of weird because basically most of his life is spring football. And, I think at this point he's got to know he's not going to be in the NFL. So he probably shouldn't be rocking that boat, or he should do what some of the other people did who made choices and formally retire and go into whatever else it is that they've been doing the other 6 months out of the year, to do it. I mean, Jamar Richardson, I think, made that decision. Is it Richardson? A bunch of players who surprised me because, we thought the names were that they were going to have better success, or maybe they did have success, but they retired anyway because they didn't make it to the NFL. And they're like, I can do something else and get a career. I don't need to, bust my body for $55,000 or $62,000 a year plus the stipend. I can have a more normal life and probably be walking better when I'm 70 or 58.
Here's where I'll stop at that real quick. So the quarterback position is the most protected position. I get it. You're going to take hits. I get it. It's football. There's going to be contact. This is not somewhere where you're going to get like a huge, 48-inch padded suit and nobody's ever going to touch you. It's going to be flag. No, I get it. But the quarterback's the most protected. It's the most penalized position that you can get messed with. So all of these, I understand you're putting your body on the line. But here's also the other thing. Do you realize, and again, this is rumblings that I've heard, the quarterbacks are making the only stink about this. Nobody else is. No, as a matter of fact, everybody else is like saying, shut the F up. Let's play and stop all this petty nonsense. Nobody else except for the quarterbacks are making us think about it. And I don't think it's all the quarterbacks. Like you said, Luis Perez realizes, well, I ain't any damn good. I'm just going to go ahead and try to milk as much money out there, and then I'll start selling Ford cars when I'm done. I don't understand what's next for a lot of these guys, but they can make their names. And for people like, well, I'm not going to ever go anywhere. Well, boo-hoo, cry about it, retire. Because obviously this is not for you. Let somebody else, that position you have that you're probably starting, let somebody else take that position, because obviously you have no heart to go out there and play. You're putting your body online. I get it. You're going to do that for any sport you play, football especially. And if you want to go ahead and try to make a name for yourself and have the NFL teams and the scouts look at you, guess what? Sacrifices have to be made. You're getting deals upon deals. You're getting a stipend. You're getting a place to live. Yes, it might be Arlington. You don't want to live in Texas. I'm so sorry for you. I'm so sorry. Do you want to go to the minor leagues and play in Omaha and live there or something like that? Go over there. Go play arena ball. Tell me how good they get it over there. Tell me.
There's European, there's a Chinese league, there's a Mexican league. I mean, there's
go
CFL.
Go across the country. Go to Canada where they're booing us right now. Go ahead. Go to Canada. Go ahead. I'll bet you nobody in this list of these quarterbacks right now. Thanks, Chris. No, on these list of quarterbacks right here, 1, 2, 3, 8 times 8, 24 quarterbacks. And we're talking about first stringers, second stringers, third string. Third stringers, I don't think are making a beef. They're probably hoping that, hey, Louis, you go ahead, get your ass kicked out of there. Let Holton take over or let Luke take over. Let's do that. Okay, Matt Corral. Hey, let's let Magoo do this, and let's let Jamar Smith do this. We don't know. Danny Eatling, please make a beef so Rocky can come on in and start, or Bryce Perkins. Let's do that. Because
very good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, Chris. I'll be quiet now.
That's Glenn. But oh yeah, but he looks like a Chris. He's very pure. So anyway, there was a media day last week, and there was a lot of threats that the players were going to sit out. And then Daryl Moose Johnston said, if you sit out, we might just kick you out. And everybody participated in the media day. So I guess a gauntlet laid, gauntlet crossed, and they folded. So that probably took most of the wind out of this, but we'll keep following it. But the news on it and the whispers is fading. Listen, the news on the UFL period, it doesn't. You have to really listen hard for it. You have to sort of put your ear to the ground to even find it. You have to follow a bunch of people, and even no one is a full-time beat reporter for the UFL, or if they are, a couple of them actually lost their jobs with big placements and had to go to other, start freelancing for a bunch of outfits to do it. So, I mean, if the media can't keep somebody on for that, it's sort of a sign of it. And that leads into something you alluded to just moments ago, and that is venues and ticket sales. Fans want them to move to different stadiums. They want expansion. They want this. They want that. You know what the league wants you to do? Buy tickets. Only St. Louis sells consistently. DC did okay, but really not for DC. Maybe about 11,000 average. Birmingham, 3-time champions now, despite it not always being the UFL privity of leagues. I think averaged, maybe 9 or 10,000, somewhere around that, and definitely not everybody showed up. The other teams, maybe 6, 7. Memphis, they have this brand new stadium. They're doing all sorts of promotion. They just lost their starting quarterback. I mean, Memphis to me looks like an 0-10 team. Granted, we're very much in the preseason. But Charles, tell us a little bit about these, some of these venue and ticket issues and all the other things that people seem to be ignoring, whether it's rose-colored glasses wearing fans or delusional quarterbacks.
I will say for a champion, you would think people would be flocking to Protective Stadium to at least get 20,000 in there. And like I said, you're talking about 8,000-9,000, something like that. I mean, it's just, and also you have half of the stadium. Now, a lot of people will come take a look at me. It's like, listen, half the stadium, who cares? Right. Yeah. I'll go ahead and crane kick you in the throat. But it's just like you
the
take
screen.
Oh,
that's like Marvel Multiverse of Madness skills.
Well, I'll go ahead and combine some of my Star Wars, Force, and then the Cobra Kai, and the same thing exactly.
That's the mojo.
But when you take a look, Birmingham and Memphis, they opened up half the stadium. Oh, so what? So what? Have them sell those tickets, and they'll open up the other part. You know how silly it looks to go ahead and have half of the bowl available. It does not look good. I understand, okay, they may not sell enough to cover half the bowl, so let's not open up the other half. Well, what if I want to sit behind my team? What if I want the other 50-yard line? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I believe that's a bad thing to do. But you're right. Outside of St. Louis, DC, I think they average like 12 or 13,000, and they have a 20,000 seat stadium. Right. San Antonio, they were like 11, 12,000. And again, those are okay. Arlington was dismal. Memphis was dismal. Terrible. Houston was dismal, but they were also playing in Rice Stadium. Now they're going back to TD, ABC, EFG Stadium.
I remember this last year when first they blamed the first stadium, and then when they moved to the permanent stadium, everyone said that was going to solve everything. It solved nothing. Now they're going back to the original one, and now that's going to be the salvation. Pick a lane, people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get it, and it's unfortunately it's the way it is. The actual numbers, if I'm taking a look at it here, DC actually had the most, besides St. Louis, of course.
Yeah.
If you take a look at it, it's just appalling. 34,000 average for St. Louis. DC.
By the way, 14. On DC, those are tickets sold. That's not butts in the ground. There's a lot of corporate and K Street, tickets that are bought that aren't used in DC. So if they average 11 or 12,000, they probably have more like 8 or 9,000 at the game.
I agree with you. I agree that there's people that buy tickets that don't show up. I get it. But this is the numbers that are generating dollars.
Sure.
This is the dollars that you take a look at. Memphis
did last. TV, it's the optics. It doesn't sound lively. It doesn't seem like something that if you were a fan on the fence that you'd like want to get behind. I mean, you want to go someplace where there's energy and it looks like fun and and they have the beer snake and all that, but frankly, that looks a little silly to me. If you're not interested in pounding beer,
that's a thing.
It is a thing, and stadiums should have their thing. So I'm all for it, but that's not going to appeal to everyone, namely people with kids who, a family of 4, family of 5, a few neighbors go together with their kids. That's what you need for football. You don't just need the drunks. I mean, so you need it to be a safe place. And if the most active area is the beer pit, that's funny. But if the rest of the place is empty, then you sort of feel like you're in a college bar, and you shouldn't be in a college bar.
I agree. I agree. The one thing I have an issue with, and I had an issue with, they announced the 8 teams for the UFL. Why are we having 3 teams in Texas? Why? When we're going ahead and plucking 9,000, it's not working. Why did Memphis move from Tampa? Tampa would have sold. I wouldn't say sold out. There would be a much, much larger following in Tampa. But Memphis wanted. I don't know why Memphis had a team. Why do we have Houston? Why? It's not drawing anybody, and that's the problem I'm saying. I know we want to go ahead and we want to build up communities. I get that, but at some point in time, you got to take a look at it. It's like, this ain't working. We need to go where people want us. People want us in Seattle. People want us in San Diego. People want us in Tampa. Why aren't we there?
Yeah, the strategy was very strange in that you can either go for popular cities that already supporting a bunch of major league teams on the belief that they'll support one more, or the people that are priced out of those major leagues, they can price themselves in and feel like part of something. Or you can go to cities that don't have major league teams. They seem to do neither of those things. They have a little they have a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, and it's not even like they you could believe that the Texas thing would be one thing if their other teams were in Arizona, Oklahoma, Louisiana, like they wanted to stay regionally, like make it logistically easy. No, there's a team in Michigan, there's a team in DC. It like none of it really makes sense. So if you're trying to keep costs down on logistics, it didn't make sense. Nevertheless, the teams are where the teams are. I would like to talk about a couple of good pieces of news, because there were a few players from the UFL last year that graduated to the NFL and had success. Most notably, Jake Bates, who went on to a lot of success with the Detroit Lions, who had a lot of success for a team that isn't known for success. I think another Jake Laporta, he played in the Super Bowl, I think, or at least into the playoffs. Were there any other players that made any sort of impact from the UFL in the NFL? I can't think of any offhand. That doesn't mean it isn't so.
Yeah, I'm actually taking a look there because honestly, I know there were a few that signed, but I don't think many of them made it past like practice squad. Like, they were signed to a practice squad. You had them back up. I think there was a quarterback out there that had to start a few games, and I'm trying to find them right there. I mean, Jacob Sailors, he went to the Giants. He actually, had some plays there. Ricky Pearson went to Seattle.
The Giants, they picked him up, then they released him, then they picked him up again, then they released him. I mean, he made it, but not for long.
Yeah. Now, that's not to say that, hey, maybe a little bit more fine tuning and, we can go ahead and plug you back in. I mean, but think about think about the community for the Giants. You just got rid of Saquon, and now you're trying to fill his shoes. Really?
Right, but I'm also saying that Jacob Sailors was probably the most consistent back in the UFL last season, and to sort of just stumble and bumble a little bit in the show, that's not great. I mean, listen, there's guys like West Hills who looked like they were going to be something and blew their knee out. And there were some other people who looked like had moments, where they looked like they had it. But I guess that's the difference between college and the NFL. It's like they look like they have it on one level and it doesn't translate. But I think Matt Corral got signed, but then he got released. Adrian Peterson got signed, but I maybe he stayed as a third string quarterback, but I don't remember hearing his name being called for doing anything prominent.
Yeah, Hakeem Butler,
not Adrian Martinez. I'm sorry,
Adrian Martinez. Yeah, but
Adrian Peterson did very well.
Martinez, I think, went to Green Bay, didn't he? I think that was him.
Yeah. Look who's here.
Hey, Jay.
Can you hear me?
Ooh, loud, yes.
Yeah. What's going on? Do you run a fire department, or are you in porn movies, or what's with the porn stash?
I got a mullet in the back too. You wouldn't believe it.
Okay, party in the back.
Business in the front, though. Make sure to keep it appropriate up front.
That sounded wrong. Party in the back. That's just no. Why?
That's what they used to say about mullets. It's like neat in the front, party in the back, or quiet in the front.
Think what you just said. That is just no.
Listen, this is 2025, Charles.
We digress.
Oh God.
The Dread Pirate Phil Edwards has shown up, or what's the character from that we never saw in the Princess Bride? The Dread Pirate Edwards, that the Man in Black took over his position. Right. Only one of the great movies of all time, but all right. Yeah. Thanks a lot, fellas.
No problem. EJ Perry actually went to Jacksonville, and they needed quarterbacks there.
Okay. Yeah. So, Jake, what's going on other than your career in either firefighting, state troopering, or porn, or all of them?
Well, we've been working a lot recently, so it's been nice to get around, move around, and show the world a new side of me. Same hairstyle for a long time, too much. Had to mix it up.
Thank you, Bobby.
But what in the world are we doing with this UFL league, man? What? I have to give them credit.
Turn it around. Hopefully, turn it around to where we get 20,000 butts in the seats every game. That's what we're hoping for.
Ticket sales don't seem to be justifying that right now. And I can tell you why. Where's the content been? I've just started seeing it pop up. I mean, the media day stuff was good. I'll give them credit. They did some good work there. But where has it been for months? They went silent. They went ghost. Nobody knows what's going on. I just found out the other day that the kickoff rule just changed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're changing the challenge rules?
A little bit.
I mean, why are we changing things? I mean, I thought year one was supposed to be proof of concept. And now we're going into year two, and it's a whole new concept. There's got to be something to be said about having some sort of brand integrity, brand loyalty, and we're losing it. And now you're having the players doing whatever the players are doing, but then you got guys like Quentin Dormady selling the playbook. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, we got to have some professionalism. Otherwise, a spring football league is just going to be viewed as a spring football league. It's not going to be it's not going to be viewed as something that people want to see. And I think that's being proven right now. I don't think fans are engaging enough, and it's because they went ghost.
Let's keep a pin to remind ourselves to come back to Quentin Dormady, because this is not the first time that he's been accused of something like that, and it's sort of weird and interesting all at the same time. And it seems like the stakes are really low for that sort of thing, unless it's gambling influence. But yeah, Jake, continue. You were on a great roll. I just wanted us all to have a mental note to circle back to that.
And you know, I told you guys I was going to be hungry. I did have a fortune cookie, and my fortune said that my gratitude would pay off. So I'm trying to be gracious and I'm appreciative that football is going to be back. I mean, the Super Bowl is over, and we haven't had football in weeks. That's my routine, and so we're going to get it back. I want to be gracious. I want to be appreciative. I want to be excited, but make me excited. Grab me in. You can't expect every single fan to be a diehard. You got to attract to the masses. And I think there's just a number of things that are missing here in the philosophy. I mean, I was very happy that all this teams stayed in the same cities, and I'm hoping the expansion's on the way after a great successful year. But what happens if we don't have that capability? Is this going to just go away?
Yeah.
And it looks like we're on the fast track to that. So we got to make a change. I mean, people have money on the line here.
And when you take a look at the buzz that's being produced, it doesn't look like the people that have money on the line really give a snot.
They seem very comfortable.
They seem content. You're right.
It's like, maybe is it because the TV deal? Does that what they think is going to guarantee them success? And they're like, we don't need to do anything else. Because I mean, I can pull up the statistics. I was looking at this earlier today. Actually, I mean, they're on a lot of prime networks at prime times. I mean, that could be seen as something to make you very content and very comfortable. But I personally don't think in the land of cable television barely being a thing anymore, I feel like people aren't even going to care if it's on Fox in prime time.
Well, I think that there's a good and a bad to that. I think it's been embedded in what we've been saying is that I think the fact that they're not spending a lot of money on a lot of promotion in many of the markets is a sign that they don't want to invest more money, good money after bad. I think on the other hand, yes, they do think that they have prime time on ABC, ESPN, and Fox now is really going to help things. And now they can have more games on in the afternoon, get the same results, and then have so you have more games in prime time, but you're not losing anything during the day, and more teams will have their home markets, now national games because there's only so many teams. So I think that they're hoping that everything will get more interest, and sort of if you build it, they will come, and it is the TV. And yeah, TV is only about 50% of households, but networks like Fox and ABC and ESPN are on most streaming platforms as well, and YouTube TV. It's not like these three networks aren't available in the internet sphere and the cyber sphere, ESPN Plus and whatnot, So yeah, I think so we'll see. Hopefully they'll get the ratings. Hopefully ratings get coverage, and coverage causes people. I'm sort of with you guys though. Those empty stadiums doesn't seem like something like I might watch on TV and enjoy the games, but I'm not going to get up and drive from Baltimore to DC in some traffic and sit in a parking lot and spend, for an entire afternoon, when I can sit on my ass at home and watch the same game just to be there in an atmosphere that frankly doesn't seem very lively. Yeah.
And it's like, are they going to pump in crowd noise? Like, is that what we're going to do to drum it up? And that's going to be seen. That's going to be known. I mean, you're going to notice that when you're watching that on TV. So it's like, I just feel like there's got to be a change. I mean, this complacency it doesn't make sense to me. And grant, the silver lining on this is some of these rule changes. I mean, that might allow us to see some more excitement. I mean, no onside kicks, 4th and 12. I mean, that's exciting. That might be something that could be a viral clip. But when you look at what their clips are doing right now, like you look at their X count, that they're very rarely getting over 20,000 views on any of their tweets that they're making. That's not sustainable.
They don't post that much either. I mean, I follow the UFL. I don't see much from them, and what I see, you're right. It's not particularly interesting. I mean, it's nothing that's getting me compelled, and I'm looking for it. So it shouldn't be that hard to rope me in. All right, let's move on because we only have 17 minutes left in this broadcast, and let's talk about first of all, were there any major signings or retirements that took either of you guys off guard? And then I want to talk about 2 quarterbacks. Actually, well, 3 people: AJ McCarron, Quinton Dormandy, and I want to talk about the sort of strange journeys of former head coach CJ Johnson, because those are sort of interesting. I think we should. This is probably the only week we can talk about them.
So, I kind of wonder where AJ was going to land, and apparently, from what I heard, he is very tough to deal with. He is not a positive person in the locker room, maybe even a cancer. So I don't know what his problem is, and I don't know why he hasn't landed somewhere else, or if he even wants to land anywhere else. I mean, it was really his choice. He could have stayed as a backup water boy in Cincinnati, but he just said, "Hey, listen, I want my family to see me play." Well, he played a couple of years, and I guess he doesn't. He's okay with that result, I guess. But I don't know. It just seems like there was some bad rap with AJ, and I think that he might have been blacklisted. I mean, if there's a such thing in the UFL.
I remember week 1, his body language. It looked like his team wasn't really with him, and he wasn't really with them. It started to turn around during the course of the season, so I didn't know if I was imagining things or not. But when you're not playing and you're not winning anymore, and the camaraderie isn't there year round, you get back to square one. And if he was being sort of douchey, and they have other options, maybe they're like, yeah, this is a prima donna, and this isn't really a league for prima donnas. We'd all like to develop into prima donnas, but if we develop to that talent, we're not going to be the prima donnas. We're going to be the low donna on the totem pole in the NFL. And listen, maybe he doesn't have a lot of hair. Maybe he's upset about that. Maybe he thinks because his wife looks like a brunette Barbie doll that he's the cat's meow. Maybe he is the cat's meow, but not as a quarterback.
Yeah, now we're splitting hairs or lack thereof.
But I think, but I think everything you guys are saying is right. I mean, we saw it last year. We heard the reports and the rumors that he wasn't really a great team player, and I get it. He won 2 national championships. He has great accolades. I mean, he probably feels like he's worthy of being in the NFL and probably doesn't understand why he's not getting his opportunity. And I think this might be screaming loud and clear why. I don't know the guy, so I don't want to say anything like that. But I think one thing that's not playing in his way, there's some really good quarterbacks loaded up on a couple of different teams. I mean, I'm specifically thinking about San Antonio and Birmingham, where both of those teams are 3 deep at quarterback. And then when you're looking at some other of the teams, I mean, you got a team like Houston where maybe they could use a backup or some depth, but Anthony Brown's a good quarterback back in his college days. He's probably got that job locked up. Max Dugan, he's probably got his job locked up in St. Louis replacing him. And that's a really great team with some great weapons. And I think they're getting slept on, but that's a different topic for a different day. I saw them as 4th in a power ranking and thought that was ridiculous. But I think it hurts him that there's a lack of options. And if you already have that bad rep, who's going to take a chance on you when there's not really any opportunity out there to give? I mean, maybe 12 teams next year, but for this season, we got 8 teams that have some good quarterbacks there.
Yeah. And there's no guarantee of next season, but I thought Manny Wilkins, who played pretty decent and when AJ went down, I thought maybe he would be the next in line. But if you're saying Max is winning that job, then I'm excited to see what St. Louis brings to the table without AJ. Is it a happier team? Is it a more festive team? are they going to go ahead and get more creative? Because AJ was limited at as his abilities.
And that's what you get with Max Dugan. I mean, and I'm sure it's Duggan, or I don't know, who knows if I'm pronouncing it right. But I mean, I'm sure everybody remembers him in college football where he had some big moments in some big games. And so that's why I think he gets the job. I saw some clips on Media Day where they were also hyping him up more than what it seemed like other players on their team. Honestly, I kind of forgot about Manny Wilkins, but you're absolutely correct. When he came in, he looked pretty good, and his ability to be a little bit shakier than Steve McCarron, that really helped. But with Max, I mean, you get the best of both worlds. You get a guy that can make the big throws in the pocket, and he can also move around. And with the weapons that they have, that offense could be scary.
It can be. I think he just froze up, though.
If it gets going, teams seem to get better, and there's so much competition around the league. Where is the guy that thinks that he deserves the job before he even gets there going to fit in?
Oh, that's the thing. That's why you have the training camp. That's why you have you got a three-headed monster in Birmingham right now. Who gets that? Yeah. Is it the newly incumbent Matt Corral that's going to come in, or is Magoo going to go ahead and do, or is Smith going to get it? I mean,
Magoo, you've done it again.
I know, right? I mean, Birmingham.
That reference is probably too old for Jake, but the three of us should get it.
I get it. Yeah.
I'm sitting over here quiet.
Well, Mr. Magoo was a cartoon. And he was basically stumbling and bumbling and basically, pretty much blind. And it was the guy with Thurston Howell III was the voice. And he would go, "Oh, Magoo, you've done it again." Because he'd solve cases like Clouseau did by accident.
Yeah,
but he didn't think it was by
last name.
It was basically the Steve Urkel of the 60s, 70s cartoon.
Right. It was Inspector Gadget without the gadgets and being sight impaired. So,
let me ask you, gentlemen, one question, because listen, I get now Birmingham is going to be probably the favorite now because of, they're just so stocked. Who is the one that pulled? Oh, shut up. Who is the one that pulled that trade for Memphis to Birmingham? Why couldn't Matt go to DC? We know Tiamu is a garbage truck train wreck. I mean, he could have made something there. He could have went. Well, we'll see.
That's probably the one team that really needs a quarterback.
Could have went to Houston. Who's? I don't even know any of these people here in Houston, so I'm sure maybe there's some sleeping ducks. But that's the
thing. If everyone gets paid around the same thing, why not go where you're going to win?
Yeah.
At least you get a ring. You put it on your resume that you won. And
you try to look at the NFL.
But dude.
Yeah. Or maybe he realizes he's not. Maybe he just realizes spring football is going to be his thing, and during the offseason he's going to sell Dodge Rams. But when he's somebody's grandfather, he's going to be able to tell his grandkids, "I won 3 UFL championships," and maybe the UFL will still be existing. Then they'll be like, "Whoa!" Like he's Bart Starr. Who knows?
So go ahead and show that cubic zirconia ring right there with one little diamond. My wedding ring is probably a lot better than that one.
Hey, The Rock says, "Know your role and shut your mouth."
Well, listen, The Rock can say a lot of things, and personally, he has no official affiliation with the UFL except he's basically the henchman. He's not the final boss of the UFL. Let's put it that way.
He's the final boss of everything. Yeah. All right. So we talked about McCarron. Let's go with Dormady, because this is like a scandal, and CJ Johnson's thing is just strange. Well, let's go with some scandal. We did gossip. Now let's do scandal.
I don't know where Dormady's head is at. Maybe it's on the same mindset as Hitler. Like he thinks he is a talent. He is a talent in spring football.
Let's get a little bit down Hitler, okay? Let's not go straight to Hitler. There's lots of levels between Quentin Dormady and Hitler.
That was like nuclear.
Let's go with like some degenerate gambler who goes out for smokes and never goes home.
That's where I was going with it, Charles.
Let's go with Pete Rose.
He just seems like an idiot to me, honestly. But I'll let Charles continue.
The guy can play. The guy can play. That's the problem. He's probably very good competition for EJ Perry. Very good competition, possibly to win the job.
Oh, Jordan Love's the one who went to Green Bay.
Oh, Jordan Love was an NFLer though. He was a UFL.
Or Josh Love.
Yeah, but Dormady can play. Why do you guys sell the damn playbook? I mean,
I thought he looked really good at times last year.
Are you really that hard up for money? What, 60 grand for 10 weeks isn't enough? I don't get this.
How much is that playbook worth?
I'd say maybe a couple of $100, if that.
Yeah, I mean, take that much.
Take the amount of paper it's been printed on. That's probably a ream of paper. I think they go for like $10 at Staples, and then the ink, and I think that's about it.
Listen, they had some creative plays, but we saw it on 10 weeks, and anybody with TV and different angles and access to the internet and have access to like 3 high school football coaches could probably recreate all those plays on their own.
Or at least take the Bill Belichick approach and just have him tape the practices.
Well, they're all in Arlington. They all are on the same damn field.
All you got to do is go to the press box while they're playing, and it's like,
stick around late, go to the bathroom, and accidentally find your way on the field.
Yeah, nobody's got to kick you out.
But what's crazy to me is he did it 2 years ago. Like, how do you not think that this isn't going to be something that people are going to pay attention to, and you might not get a rep for? Like,
well, Orlando was a train wreck, so Orlando was a train wreck, so I kind of get why he just like sold everybody under the bus.
But this is like the world's stupidest recidivist low end criminal.
Probably see on the world's dumbest criminals there on True TV or something.
Well, and the crazy thing is he now no longer gets to tell his grandkids that he played in the UFL because they removed his stats off the website. I mean, they wiped him off the earth like he didn't even exist anymore.
Yeah,
he's been Pete Rose practically. All right, well that is really crazy. What I would like to see is like some equivalent of like NFL or football cops where they go after him and like it turns out he is like in a trailer or he's in like the group players like dormitory. And like he's running out with his towel on the thing and flip flops, or even worse, Crocs. Sorry, Jake, go ahead.
No, this is slightly off topic. Just want to break some news, I guess, for anybody that's watching live right now. NFL related, though, not UFL related. NFL crossover. It's football. We love football. DK Metcalf just got traded to the Steelers and signed a 5-year, $150 million contract.
Of course.
And Josh Allen re-signed for the biggest contract with the most guaranteed money in NFL history, 6 years, $330 million with the Bills. And both of those came in the last 120 seconds.
Nice.
Okay. Well,
nice.
From the ridiculous to the sublime, the interesting journeys of CJ Johnson, who, as anybody who watched last year knows, was among my favorite head coaches because he was terrible head coach. And so apparently he was signed to be a head coach for like an arena league or some other kind of, minor league team. And now Houston has signed him as a player. So he's on the active roster as a player. And the condition of this happening by the minor league team, which may or may not be on a higher or lower or equal level as the UFL, I honestly have no idea, but they don't have TV. So I'm going to put them on a lower level just out of that assumption. The condition that he not be the head coach of Houston again, which like Houston should be like, that is like the easiest condition ever because he was a terrible head coach. I think he lost every single one of his challenges, which was 2 a game, which counts for 20 a year. But
if you don't use them, you lose them.
Well, now there's only 1 a game. The coaches only get 1 a game instead of 2. That was
unless you win.
Well, yeah, if you win, you get a second.
Yeah, but he never won, so I guess he's only going to get 1.
But even then, I think the one thing that the NFL should have poached from the UFL on like the kickoff return, different topic, different day, the one thing that they should have poached is the way that they do the sky cam and all the extra ref stuff and the replay. That should be something that the NFL should be adopting because it works. And the point of, challenges were almost useless last year.
Well, the NFL has come in and actually, when you were watching it, there were some obvious, like, are you kidding me? They called that completed, and then they just buzzed down to the referee. It's like, okay, so they are using that, but I'm just saying they have dipped into it. They've dipped their dipstick into the oil, and they see that, hey, yes, we can eliminate some of the obvious challenges that just take up too much time, and they have overturned it. So there has been some overturns to bad refereeing.
Well, if they want to speed up the games, which is probably from some of the reasons for the teams, they may want. I like the refs and the refs in the booth or at Central could question any calls on the field. However, it did slow the game down. Maybe they should limit that to like 2 per quarter or 2 per half. to have the game go a little bit quicker. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but a couple of signings. I believe Mark Thompson recently re-signed with San Antonio. We weren't sure about that. He's someone who had like moments of brilliance where he looked like he could really be somebody, and that really helped San Antonio.
And he was a beast 2 years ago in spring football.
My favorite player in the league who I thought was going to do something in the NFL, I don't think he did, Hakeem Butler. Where is he?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is he not back? I feel like I saw him on media day with a couple clips.
I hope he's back because I enjoyed seeing him. I know that Cincinnati signed him, but I don't think he did anything with them. So
no, they were stacked at receiver as it was. I don't even think he saw the field.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, audience, I don't know how much more we have to say. I believe
he's back with St. Louis. He is my handy spreadsheet by Nicholas Storm. It's free on his Twitter. I'll give him the free plug. It's a great source, and he updates it very regularly. So all the rosters are updated, coaching and coaches staff. It's very impressive. He's listed on the roster, and like you said, they are loaded. Denzel Mims, Andy Isabella, Ja'Cour Pearson, who had a great year last year, and the list goes on and on and on. They still have Gary Jennings, who used to play for the Seahawks, but that's a stacked wide receiver room. Yeah, and Hakeem Butler, you're right. He was a beast last year.
Sure was.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing him again.
Yeah. I'm trying to end with some positive things here as well. And with that, I think that, one of the things, I mean, I'd like to work on getting some guests. I think I'll maybe hit up my colleague, not really a friend, who's an agent, and see if maybe some of his clients would be willing to come on. Last year, we sort of thought there was going to be one, but they had a bad injury, and that sort of ended that. But Glenn, I think you got me into another Facebook group, and someone in that claimed that they were friendly with one of the wide receivers on one of the teams. So, maybe that can happen. Who knows? We'll look. No guarantees. Every now and then I ask James Larson or some of the other Mike Mitchells of the world. They don't respond, but maybe one day they will. You never know. Never hurts to ask. All you can do is get made fun of by some jabronis on X that have that don't have jobs and never will. So
it's so much for ending positively.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna toss out there that Doge is investigating UFL because apparently the Army has spent $80 million for advertising.
Wait. Hold on a second. Didn't the Army spend $11 million and then sue the NFL and the UFL and get a bunch of that money back, like they'd settle that case? I mean, Doge has been known to get the numbers wrong, like when they said that they solved they ended an $8 billion contract for a department that its entire budget is $8 billion, and they said something was that they had another $8 billion contract that they canceled. It turns out it was like $8 million contract and the contract was actually canceled under the prior administration. So Elon's been doing some sloppy work.
Well, as long as my 300-year-old grandma gets her check, that's all I'm worried about. So
yeah, as you should. I mean, the original Bigfoot that got you on that network, the matriarch of the Southeastern Bigfoot clan.
If she lived to 300, she deserves a check. My God,
for sure, 100%. I mean, aside from the drinking people's human blood and all, but
wow.
Well, how else do you live to be 300?
Whiskey and bacon? I don't know.
I wish. If that's the case, then it's looking good for me.
Whiskey and bacon sounds like a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whiskey, bacon flavored whiskey actually sounds like sort of put a little honey in that. I think we're onto something. That's like all 3 meals. So
find it at every UFL stadium near you.
It's a food group.
That'd be a thing. That could be a thing. Memphis, they have some pretty good whiskey in Tennessee, as I hear it.
2, but who's counting? So
you are a walking commercial for Tennessee.
Yeah, well, I'm disappointed in Tennessee. The owner wants them there. That's the only reason they're there. He's just keep throwing good money after bad. That's the only reason they're in Memphis. Yeah. Let's be honest. So,
did they ever use the song "Walking in Memphis" by Mark Cohn?
I don't know. Probably couldn't afford it.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right. Anybody have any news and notes or want to plug their stuff that they haven't plugged already?
Every Monday and Wednesday, the Charles Richardson Show. We are an open topic show, 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. It's usually me and my wife, but we've had guests come on talking books, mental health. We're even going to go ahead and get into wrestling eventually, and probably get Jay
you have
in
a
there as
wife
well.
who will talk to you about wrestling?
No. I've talked about wrestling. She usually has to go ahead and although she does she does get moist for Roman Reigns, so I can't compete with that, unfortunately.
My wife's favorite wrestler is Lana, who hasn't wrestled in years and barely wrestled then.
Did she have a lesbian thing for her or something?
God, I hope so.
Yeah. all I can say is my wife acknowledges her tribal chief.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Good choice. No wonder he's got that part-time schedule now, Charles. Better keep your eye on her.
Yeah, I know, right?
Tribal tattoos, you know.
And they're coming down to Tampa for like the Saturday night's main event, Raw. So I was like, oh god, gotta lock up the wife.
I'm a big shot. I told you I made it to the big boy table in wrestling too.
Exactly. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah. Who would have known?
Tomorrow night, I'm talking to Zicky, the Outlander Zicky Dice. Next week, I've got Kevin Kelly and Casey Thompson. Next Monday, former Nitro girl April Hunter. And we got Big Trouble Ben Bishop. He's 6'12", not 7 feet. Coming up.
Is he going to fit on the screen?
It's awesome.
Yeah. I've recently on my last 7 texts, I have Aaron Idol, who's Aaron Stevens, Aaron Rex, Damian Sandow. I have PJ Black, who's been my friend for 5 years. I have I'm not going to give his real name, but the Savage Gentleman, Victor Benjamin. I have Zicky Dice in there, and there's one other. I can't even remember. This is my best friend, Mr. Thomas. By the way, whose name is
Mr. Thomas.
I love Mr. Oh, last night MLW was live on YouTube. Well, it wasn't live, but it was on YouTube. And he's doing a flip. He doesn't do flips.
He does now, apparently.
He can fly. The man can fly.
He can fly.
He introduces himself as the worst wrestler in the world. He's not the worst wrestler in the world. He's not even the worst wrestler in MLW.
Shane McMahon once called himself the best wrestler in the world, and we know that wasn't true.
Definitely wasn't true. Well, Mr. Thomas was being very humble. And by the way, Mr. Thomas is an emergency contact for in case something happens to Jake, because he's only about an hour and a half away. And then Super Panda is another one. He's in the same city. So I mean, if there's any trouble, Super Panda can get you out of it.
Yeah. Well, you got to realize too, when Jake goes out and does the prospecting at night, gonna make sure he has that bail money, or at least that guy can go and get him out of trouble. So. Super
Panda's hairstyle and his facial hair is a little reminiscent of Jake's now. I wonder if they're not already hanging out.
I think one's the pimp, so that's all I can think of.
Well, I'll put it this way: the hairstyle isn't staying for that long, so this is a short-term thing.
Aww,
short-term. Go wait till you
guys. Not a fan.
Well,
see that is a comment from somebody that accidentally trimmed a little too close to the goatee and had to shave it all off, and then got stuck with a mustache. It's like just temporary until everything comes back in.
Well, listen, see, there are things that me and my ex-wife can find common ground on. We're not fans of the 80s, AC Slater look.
It's the flow in the hair. They love the flow in the hair.
Yeah, right.
He's underground, and he's joined an 80s rock band is what it is.
I want to say John Parr or he did Naughty Naughty. What was the other one? What was the Eddie and the Cruisers? What was the real band? Eddie and the Cruisers?
Milli Vanilli.
No, it wasn't Milli Vanilli. It was something like the oh god, it's going to kill me. But, they did On the Dark Side. Something in the Beaver Brown Band, something like that.
I don't know. You got me on that one.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just stick with John Parr, because everyone remembers Naughty Naughty.
Just stay on par with John Parr.
Yeah, or Greg Kinn. It can be like Greg Kinn.
This isn't my kind of trivia.
Yeah.
Give me
apparently not mine either. He is good.
One of those that knows just a little bit. So.
All right. Well, am I wrong that we had an hour? We had a hard
stop. You can go over a little bit. Yeah, you can. If you want to keep rolling for a little while, that's fine.
I thought we were on a hard stop. So
No. Only hard stop is at 2 hours. So.
No. Yeah, Jake hasn't taken the Viagra yet, so it's not hard yet.
Oh my goodness, Charles!
Oh wait, we're on FM.
He doesn't need Viagra.
Yeah.
Plus he's a
hold on. It makes me want to play my favorite quote by Troy Aikman. Yeah, of course, you probably can't hear it, so because the thing's not working. Damn it! It's so good.
We caught up with the other folks of the year. Jake, how's your year been? How's your last 40 weeks been?
I mean, it's been good until the Ravens lost in the playoffs.
God, that was terrible.
But I mean, it's been a good year. I've been writing a little bit more. If anybody is into MMA, I've been doing some of that. Been doing some power slap stuff because apparently there's a niche there. So we're giving that a little dabble. I enjoy power slap. I don't know very many other people that do, but hopefully,
I actually dug it a little bit when they're actually doing their an initial it was like a reality type thing that they would do.
Yeah.
I actually got into it. I'm thinking, man, these are beefy big guys. My God, and they're taking these hits. Like my wife is like, "What are you watching?" I'm thinking, I'm watching people bitch slap each other. Come on, get with it.
It's crazy.
It's really crazy. I don't know if it ever take off or if it takes off in a major way like UFC, but it's definitely something that my 350-pound fat behind could probably get into. And
well, Dana White's behind it, so well. And by the way, for a question, who's Iron Mike Sharp? Come on.
Yeah, nobody knows who he is. Iron Mike, just because it's it's not Tyson. And he's not even Iron anymore.
Who's the better jobber wrestler from the 80s, Barry O or Iron Mike Sharp? And it's definitely Iron Mike Sharp, but it might be Casey Thompson, who I will talk to this Saturday, with Mr. Thomas and the legendary Lufista.
Lufista?
Lufista.
Oh, I was going to say, who did he fist?
It's a she.
Who is she?
Well, you know what? If
can I get her OnlyFans
interactive show, you can ask her. But remember, she did death matches before they were cool. So
that's why I'm going to say keep my distance.
Yeah, just know that the consequences might be treacherous.
Yes, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, don't mess with female wrestlers. They are very strong in the core.
Oh no, they're PMS 24/7. What are you talking about?
Remember,
what happened to you this year? I'm supposed to be the inappropriate one.
And you know what? Before the show, I'm thinking, we're going to be on FM. I got to watch my language.
All right. Where are you writing, Jake? Did you mention who you're writing for?
I'm writing over at the Scrap. That's where I'm putting my regional MMA stuff. I'm really just focusing on the power stuff for right now, though. It's difficult getting a lot of stuff out, working a full-time, trying to live a life. But I'm getting out everything I can. So regional MMA, power slap, that's over at the Scrap. Follow me on Twitter, and I'm reposting all of it.
How about the Ebony Bird?
3.5. I'm talking about my weight. 3.5 bills. That's my weight. I mean, if I charged that per hour, that would be. I
think he's talking about your weight. I don't think he was making you $1 offer for you.
I think he's saying you're looking good. I don't think you look
really. Oh well, thank you very much. You're so sweet. It's $150 an hour though.
Oh, we're getting discounts now.
Absolutely. The sweet talk discount. Just
a little compliment goes a long way.
Absolutely. That motivates my confidence and make me not want to have to take a full blue pill. Just a partial.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm sorry, man.
Richard's been our guest next week.
Hey, he's welcome. Hell, I'll have him on my show. So.
Yeah, actually, I think he would fit in very well with your show.
Probably.
I listened to one of your shows earlier this week, and it was, you know what you're doing. It's like you're doing the rundown of the day, and basically you were giving the weather reports for like the entire world, and I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, and he's like, this is like an hour and 32 minutes. Like, thank God I have a 2x speed of like, there's very heavy winds going from the northwest from Vancouver into the plains of Idaho, and that's going to affect your along the southeast. I'm like, there's rains going in there, and there's a freeze alert in the northeast. I'm like, what is happening here?
But nobody has the Weather Channel app. Nobody really cares about their local news, so they got to go ahead and get the Sportcat to go ahead and tell them what it's going to be like there in the bowels of West Virginia.
I think he was just making it all up. I think he was just like
Possibly.
I think he was just riffing.
He's trying to do
They get it right half the time anyhow. So
yeah, or less than half actually. So he could go ahead and just throw down. It's gonna hail ice right now. I was wrong. I'm sorry. It's sunny.
Right, but
it's
like, I didn't have wildfires in Long Island on my bingo card. So I mean.
Yeah, well,
that's what that's what it should be. It should be the Sportcat bingo card weather update.
Hey, Radio X in Australia picked up 225 listeners to my weather report. So,
well, of course, because they just got hit with a damn hurricane,
cyclone. You got to be correct
whatever
in your meteorology.
Well,
and that's why
an asteroid hit Australia like 3.57 billion years ago, and that might be what changed our entire climate and gave us the seeds of life.
No,
so maybe life did start in Australia afterward. Maybe we're all mutated marsupials.
I don't believe that, because if an asteroid hit Australia and changed our whole way of life, why don't we have kangaroos and they're the only ones that do? Well, kangaroos should have bounced around, and we should have equal share in kangaroos.
Yeah, I'd kind of be scared if I could see a swimming kangaroo.
Well, there weren't any mammals yet. In fact, there wasn't any like. Well, there was life actually. Life started about 500 million years after the Earth formed in primitive ways, but it wasn't Australia then. I mean, we weren't even at Pangea when they were all continents. They were just it's probably just a land mass that was underneath whatever kind of passed for an ocean back then.
Well, it's kind of like the ice caps now, where they're breaking off. It's like, hey, listen, this one's going in the right direction. I'm going to stay on this one. That's what Australia was. It broke off, and it's like, this is going down under, and I want to go down under. Wait a minute, that's the wrong down under. Shit, we can't go ahead and get off this island now.
They're cursed. Everything wants to kill them on that island. So
I think Charles is like stand-up material on us.
Actually, nothing's written down, to be honest with you. This is all off the cuff.
But you do have stand-up. You do have a stand-up routine?
No.
Okay.
No. You should.
I don't know why. I'd suck at it.
You could do like a Dolph Ziggler.
You would be drawn in if you saw my wind map. So that's what does.
I don't want to see a wind flap. I had an ex that had a wind flap, and I didn't want to see that either.
It's really bodacious. So.
Yeah, I've seen my share of wind flaps. I'm done.
I feel really virginal right now. I do not even know what a wind flap is
Well,
referenced.
I said map, but I'll run with it. So.
I know what you said, but I don't know what a wind flap even is supposed to reference.
Roast beef. Roast beef.
Oh, I was thinking it was the old man's thing where they unbutton the two buttons in the back of their long johns or whatever the hell those things are called. So that's
yeah. I mean, when you had the onesies, like when you had cookie around the fire, good cooking beans, dinner time, dinner bell. But yeah, no, I don't think
age.
Ding-a-ling-ling.
That's what he was referring to. So okay, no one knows. Oh, okay, here we go. Good.
There is the weather map, right? That wind map mesmerizes people.
It does.
The LIPP Men on weather patterns and currents.
There's too much green on there. They need to change that to yellow.
Well, that was down under. So
that's probably some stank.
Where's the portal through Antarctica? There's a portal right there. I see it.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. Yeah, that's my mesmerizing wind map. It draws them in and they can't leave. I don't know.
Right. So it looked like peacock feathers.
So yeah.
Yes, sir. I obey what you say.
Yeah. So who knows what I'll come up with? So.
Oh, I just woke up. What happened?
The creativity never ends.
See, that's it. I hypnotized him, brought him in. He'll click like, follow, share, and subscribe. That's the way it works.
Yep.
It's the Manchurian Candidate. So
if you have like a Zelle account or some type of QR code, my bank account's probably going to be your bank account now. It'll just be transferred all over. It's right to you.
It already is. You
That's it.
forgot the
I
last
didn't
10
know
minutes?
that. I was wondering why I was getting all these alerts on my phone saying, "Why are you spending money?" Oh,
It's not your wife.
Just
well,
moving it
no,
around.
it's not. No, she doesn't have access to my account.
I mesmerized you.
I know.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on my wife maybe getting Lana or CJ Perry, which is a real name to follow her. By the way, she's at Pandora694 on the TikTok under Valentina. So if you
I heard
speak
she's
Spanish
single too now.
on TikTok, she might be. So
I think it said complicated relationships.
Well, I can I can make sure it's uncomplicated. Really,
it is. I'm a complicated person. I'm like Shaft. I'm a complicated man.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jeff. Yeah. Do you have anywhere else you're going to be coming up on? Anything else? Any other shows?
Who?
You.
Me?
I'm talking to you. Yeah.
I mean, I do my 3 shows a week. Now this one, I'll be on. I should be on Wrestling Soup SmackDown review show after SmackDown goes off the air, usually around 11:15 p.m. Eastern time. I'm probably guesting on some podcasts. Probably some that I guested on will come to print or go to post. But yeah, I mean, I just dropped a show today or yesterday for Garner Thought with a UFO dude on. Took me to some public domain documents about Majestic 12 and Roswell and MK Ultra and secretaries of state that fell out of windows and things like that. So that's some pretty cool stuff.
You're on the list.
The easier question is, what podcast is he not doing?
That's a good
I think that's a shorter list.
I interviewed a woman that next week I'm going to drop her show, but this week, gentlemen, but the woman I checked. I went on Audible. Her book has a perfect 5-star review rating, and it's her debut novel, and she won 2 awards for it. So that's pretty exciting. And the guy this week, he's actually a Houston-based attorney. He's been there for like 40 years, and he's got like a little series of crime now, sort of like. I likened it to like Carl Hyacin meets Elmore Leonard, and he goes, "It's uncanny that you said that because that's exactly what I was going for." I'm like,
And I've just had strippers. I'm doing something wrong with my life.
What?
Weather and strippers. That's it.
See, if you actually had like a stripper, like if you went some clip art stripper and pointed to like where the weather pattern is on that globe. I think that would be a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah, that might be a winning. Maybe your mistake is having them separate.
Yeah, just you got to combine them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the stripper forecast, and then the higher gusts of wind are showing the skirt blowing up, and then low gusts of wind show the skirt is stationary.
You're onto something. I like
that.
Exactly.
Well,
maybe
I know my skirt.
Jake's back from the wind tunnel or the wind map. He's still kind of in the days over there.
The wind flap. Back there. All right, well, that's great. I mean, it's good that you're having strippers on there. There's a never-ending supply of strippers.
And I had a porn star. Well, actually, I had the cameraman, director, producer. Yeah.
Okay.
I had an Australian Playboy bunny on my show one time a couple of years ago.
Hey, I need names and numbers.
Sandra Sojay in Australia. She's a little bit of an older lady, but she's still awesome.
Yeah. Oh, we're older, so Jake is tuned out so badly right now.
I have no idea what's being talked about. I thought we were talking about football.
We're definitely talking about men's sports. It's just not the same sport.
Yeah, exactly. We need a sponsor from Viagra. So.
Rose Sparks are one of them.
Aim lower. Aim for like him or Blue Chew.
Hey, Blue Chew.
Roman ED or whatever it is. I don't think Big Pharma's coming anytime soon. But listen, what do I know? You have a wind map. What do I know? Maybe you're big timing.
He knows how the wind's turned.
It's right. I can control the wind. So.
All right, Charles, you're cut off from wind jokes.
All right.
You have to find a new one.
Jake,
line.
you got anything coming up, or are you just gonna?
Nope, I'm just doing my writing thing. Things are coming out weekly, so different things, different weeks, different days. different things. So tune in on X, Jake_Lippman, if you are interested in the MMA journey.
I'm surrounded by greatness. So, well, guys, it's been a good show. I appreciate it. Preseason, it's kind of hard to gauge anything anyhow. So you might as well just roll with it and have fun because who knows?
Next week we'll get more into the specifics and into the divisions and dive in.
Break down the teams and the coaches and all the new things. But 3 weeks and we're back.
Yeah. 3 Fridays. That's it. 3 Fridays from yesterday, and we're back in it.
Yeah.
It's happening, strike or not.
That's right. I'm going to have to start sending those DVRs because now I'm on duty watching SmackDown. So,
What if they get scabs? So they do strike and they get scabs.
But they're already dealing with scabs.
I know.
What do they call these scabs? Roaches?
They're just like a step up from it. So.
They're a step. Yeah, they're a step up from scabs.
The replacements.
They're gonna start calling them wounds.
Look at some high school players that are bored during the spring. That's.
I think below scabs is like open wounds.
Listen,
I would probably watch that more interestingly.
You're 18 and up. Come on over and try out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the Arena League does.
That's true. Well, I did hear Canada is trying to start a league where they want to play arena football on skates.
Yeah, but I heard there's a 25% tariff to join.
Probably, but that is the most horrible idea I think I've ever heard in my life.
It is definitely
horrible.
It is really, really just out there.
Well, you don't know what the liability laws are, and it does sound really, really dangerous, which seems like it's the power slap crowd's dream come true. So it is so outrageous that it just might work. I wouldn't do it in the U.S., but that's not the U.S. They do have national health care, so.
See, the thing is, the U.S. leagues are actually competitive and successful.
Yeah, well, are the U.S. leagues competitive or successful, or is there one league that's? I mean, the Arena League's competitive and successful. It almost folded 3 times last year.
Well, there's how many arena leagues are there? I mean, there is you got the IFL, which is I think now the tier 1, where the AFL used to be, but the IFL is that's tier 1 right now. They ain't going anywhere. They're doing pretty good.
Okay, I remember when John Bon Jovi bought a team. That was exciting.
That was awesome, but apparently that was the beginning of the downfall for the original AFL.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, you have a follower.
Cheyenne, look at you.
Cheyenne likes the stash.
Maybe Cheyenne. Appreciate you. Maybe it does work. Maybe I should keep it.
She likes it when it tickles.
Yeah,
I don't want to try to push the shame in you, Jake, but she is a broke witch.
Well, maybe then
she isn't one of them.
She's not one of the broke witches.
No. She may be a witch, but she's not a broke witch.
So Jake's Twitter is lip for fun. So make sure you go ahead and book him.
This whole time I thought she was one of the broke witches.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's great. Chris said he would set an over-under on combined knee injuries, concussions per game at 12 in Canada. I agree.
I'll take the over.
Yeah, I was. So she's a solvent witch, not better. I mean, you want a witch that can spell her into money. But yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried less about the concussions than I'm about the blades going into people.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, concussions are not fun either. But the first tragedy I'm thinking about are
death.
Yes.
Yeah, someone getting rocked in their
gladiators.
Right, sort of like the opening sequence in the new season of Daredevil with blades going all over the place. And
we will have a show if they start that. I guarantee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll be the first 2 following it. I can guarantee that much.
Biggest fan.
No, we won't be. There's always someone first, but we should keep that on our win map radar.
Well, I don't think that the people that are following truly understand what they're following. So it's like, ooh, knew something Canada follow, but it's like when they finally see people getting decapitated by blades of the skate, it's like, what did I sign up for?
I mean, it's just like organized running, man. But yeah, Glenn, put an alert on your win map for skateball.
Yeah,
I will do it.
Or as I call it, death by ice.
That's a rock band's name. So.
I'm a rock band guy.
Heavy metal. There you go. All right. Well, you can tune in tomorrow at 1:00 if you want to hear me on Radio X in Australia. And you can also tune in tomorrow's Monday. Never mind. Tuesday, I'm on the Thin Line Rock Station spinning records from noon till 2. And then Wednesday night, the pair are normal guys. And then every day, 1:00, I'm spinning the globe on the wind map, telling news. So
Wind tunnel.
Wind tunnel. That's right. So that's where I'm at. That's where you'll find me. So, and of course, we will be back next Monday. Jake, we can't
Sunday.
Stash. Well, Sunday. Yeah. See, this whole time change just screwed me up. So I can't handle it.
Is our regular
woke up
time
this
gonna be
morning, I had
7
no
or
idea.
8? Is it going to be 7 or 8? Let's figure. So we can tell the good folks.
You pick it. But you got like 30 seconds to decide. So.
We're going to fail. We'll do it off air. Bye, everyone.
Everybody have a great night. Oh, Cheyenne says she loves you, Jake. So.
Oh, sounds like a proposal now. I put an appointment.
We're gonna pimp Jake. The season tanks will pimp Jake.
We're going to be our dating shows.